Hello everybody, my name is Neil and today we will be analyzing this complex table taken from IELTS Cambridge 7 on page number 30. Let's read and analyze this task in detail. The table below gives information on consumer spending on different items in 5 different countries in 2002. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Okay, here we have the percentage of natural consumer expenditure by category 2002, and we have several countries here: Ireland, Italy, Spain, Sweden, Turkey, and then we have several products here such as food, drink, tobacco, clothing, footwear, leisure, and education. So we have just to focus on similarities and differences in some figures which are similar. Okay. First of all, it's important to write a very good introduction. So the table compares and contrasts the percentages of consumer expenses relating to 3 major categories in 5 European countries. So number 1, this one is called the table, okay, and then compares, which means it focuses on something similar. Contrasts means focuses on something different. So compares and contrasts the percentages of, because we have percentages, okay, of consumer expenses. Okay, so here we have consumer expenditure, here consumer expenses, relating to, which means regarding, 3 major categories, 1, 2, 3, okay, in 5 European countries. Okay, we have 5 countries: Ireland, Italy, Spain, Sweden, Turkey, and we have mentioned everything in the introduction. Now let's move on. As can be seen, the amount of money spent on food, drinks, or tobacco in all the countries listed is significantly greater than that spent on the other categories indicated in the table. Okay, as can be seen, okay, is used when you want to focus on general trends here. Okay, you don't want to focus on any specific numbers, okay, or percentages. You want to focus only on general trends. So as can be seen, the amount of money spent on food, drinks, or tobacco. Now look at this. We're looking at the first category: food, drinks, tobacco. Okay, so the amount of money spent. Remember, the amount of is used for uncountable nouns, something which you can't count 1 through 3, and therefore the amount of money, and then spent on food, drinks, in all drinks or tobacco in all the countries listed is significantly greater than that spent on the other categories indicated in the table. Now if you just look at all of these percentages, right, 28.91, okay, 16.36, and so forth, all of these percentages are much higher than the percentages for clothing, footwear, leisure, and education. And that's exactly what we need to indicate in the second paragraph. Okay, so we have to focus on general trends, and that's exactly what we need to do here. Now let's move on. More specifically, the average Turkish and Irish consumer, okay, seems to spend the most on food, drinks, and tobacco at 32.14% and 28.91% respectively. So more specifically, now we want to provide the examiner with more detail. So more specifically, the average Turkish and Irish consumer. Okay, so now we're looking at the average Turkish consumer, okay, in the first category, and then Irish consumer, okay, so we're looking at Ireland here. Okay, and then seems to spend the most on food, drinks, and tobacco. Okay, so the idea is we are focusing on the countries with the largest expenditure, okay, and we illustrate these percentages. So focus on the highest percentages, and exactly what you do, that's what we are doing here. Okay, and then and then indicate the exact percentages. Okay, so 32.14% and 28.91% respectively. Why? Because the first figure belongs to the average Turkish consumer, and the second figure belongs to the average Irish consumer, and therefore we need to use the word respectively. Now let's move on. Those residing in Italy, however, tend to spend almost half as much on the same products, with the percentage being below 17%. So those residing in Italy. So here, Italy, we have 16.36%, which is much lower than the percentage for Ireland and the percentage for Turkey, okay, which is almost like 50% of it, right? It's half, and therefore, however, we need to show the contrast because we said the table contrasts, okay? So now we are contrasting. However, tend to spend almost half, right? Almost half, because just try to see the difference between 28.91% and 16.36%. As much on the same products, with the percentage here being below 17%. Now here I'm trying to be very careful. I don't want to write 17.36%. I just want to write below 17%. Okay, so and here I try to focus on the structure. So comma and then with the percentage and then being. So use ing, being below 17%. Now let's move on. As far as the expenses regarding clothing and footwear are concerned, okay, so we are making a very great smooth transition. Now we're focusing on the second category, and we're using this keywords as far as something, 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 okay, are concerned, which means now we're talking about this. The average Italian consumer, okay, now Italian, okay, now if you look at this carefully, it's obvious that the amount of money was spent much more than the amount in the countries. Okay, a lot more money to these items. In this case, a lot means spent more money, and remember, you spend money on, but you allot money to something. So a lot more money to these items. Okay, these items, what kind of items? Clothing and footwear. Then those shopping in Ireland, Spain, and Turkey. Okay, that's exactly what we've done. We have focused on the largest figure here in this category. Okay, now let's move on. The three aforementioned countries. Okay, what kind of countries? These countries. Ireland, Spain, and Turkey. So that, because we know exactly what kind of countries we're talking about. So the three aforementioned. Aforementioned means mentioned above. Okay. The three aforementioned countries, we don't need the word mentioned here, sorry, appear to spend virtually the same amount of money on clothing, footwear. Okay, now look at this. So here we have three countries, Ireland, okay, we have Ireland, and then we have Spain, okay, and then we have Turkey. And if you look at the figures, all of these figures are very, very similar. But here I'm also trying to focus on something really important. Okay, I just write that the three aforementioned countries appear to spend virtually the same amount of money on clothing and footwear. Here, with Ireland spending the least. Now, if you just look at Ireland, of these three countries, right, Ireland spends less, and therefore just write with Ireland spending the least. Okay, so little, less, the least, and then at, and then show the exact percentage. Okay, now let's move on. Let's just focus on the next category, turning to the outgoings on leisure and education. So, okay, in this case, turning to means focusing on. Okay, outgoings here means spending on leisure and education. The last category, the amount of money spent by Italians and Swedes. Okay, so Italians and Swedes, okay, is similar, right? Because 3.20 and 3.22, and this is far more than the percentage for Spaniards, okay? Spaniards, which means those who are from Spain, okay, much more, but less than that for Turks. Now, Turks spend 4.35%, so less, and we have indicated, okay? So we say that number one, they spend similar amounts of money on these products, okay, but then less than the other countries, but more than other countries. That's exactly what we need to do. And then at, and then we indicate again, we indicate the exact percentage because we're talking about Turks. So at, and then 4.35%. Good. That's all. I hope that you have learned how to analyze data in the graph, okay, or in the table. I hope you've learned how to compare and contrast data. Thank you very much for watching. Good luck to all of you.